weekend, were you guys able to remember what we taught you and to discuss it? We have learned that as you can discuss and if you're able to teach someone the things that you learned, then you're able to remember it better.
Last week we talked about 3 things that we needed to bring on this journey with us: courage, compassion, and connection. We also talked a little bit about vulnerability.
Today we're going to discuss each of these concepts and kind of elaborate more so that you can understand them clearer. We just heard a story from Edmonton about a girl, Raylene Marks, who quit her job in Claire's after refusing to pierce a little girl's ear. I'm going to read it to you. Raylene Marks says, "I was to assist with the piercing since it was what we called a double, both ears at the same time. It's reserved for nervous kids who might change their mind after the first earring goes in. The girl pleaded and sobbed for 30 minutes not to be pierced. Despite mom saying, 'Honey, we can go home whenever you want,' she was not letting her daughter go home. She was putting a great deal of pressure on her daughter to go through with the piercing. This child was articulate, smart, and well aware of herself and her body. She expressed that she didn't want us touching her and that we were standing too close, that she was feeling uncomfortable. She made it clear she no longer wanted to get her ears pierced. She begged over and over again for mom to please just take her home. The child's message was loud and clear to me. Do not touch my body, do not pierce my ears. I do not want to be here. I'm inclined to respect a child's right to say no to any adult forcing any kind of non-medical contact to them. So I told the other piercer I wouldn't be part of the ear piercing for this girl. To my relief, in the end, the mother respected her daughter's wishes and took her home." The next day, the manager was upset that she hadn't pierced the girl's ear, and so she quit right on the spot. So I graduated from high school early, and due to that, I was doing some online courses, some online university courses, and my good friends were still in high school. And while this was happening, oftentimes when you're at school together, you just do last minute things. You're like, okay, let's go to Lethbridge or go to the mall or whatever, and don't have a big plan, or let's go to each other's house after school. And so with 2 particular friends of mine, they would do this, and they never intentionally meant to exclude me, but I would hear about their adventures whenever I saw them next, and they would tell me how they went and did this with so-and-so, and I was like, well, why didn't you invite me? And I kept saying this in my head, but I was like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. So for a while, I kind of put it off. And then it came to a point where I was like, these are some of my best friends, and I really don't like that I'm sitting here feeling these negative feelings towards them that they don't know I'm feeling. So it's not like they're not intentionally hurting me, but I'm feeling hurt inside. And so one day I was like, hey guys, I really don't appreciate it when you go and you have all these fun adventures and then you tell me about them, but I wasn't invited. And it was really stressful for me to do. And then they were like, oh my goodness, we're so sorry. We didn't intentionally exclude you. We never would have done that. It was just a whole bunch of last minute things. And which I figured they would say, but it was such a relief to hear from them. And it took a lot of courage for me to do that. But it was so worth it in the end because I was able to get rid of this hurt that I had been feeling that was never meant to be there in the first place, and then to continue with these relationships to develop them into deep and lasting friendships. These stories that we've talked about are about courage and from acting from your heart and staying true to yourself and taking care of yourself.
Often we think of courage as doing something heroic or brave, and this is definitely a part of courage. It takes courage to rescue a drowning child or to get a cat from a tall tree, but it takes as much courage to do something that is hard and that is right even when you are scared.
Courage comes from the Latin word cor, and that means from the heart. Courage is acting from the heart, doing things that you know is right from your heart, acting what you believe and what you say from the heart, authentically and real. Courage is about being vulnerable, and often being vulnerable is one of the hardest things we can do.
Every day that we speak our truth to ourselves or others, we are practicing courage. We say practicing because we cannot do it 100%. We're not 100% courage all the time. We are just courageous. We are practicing because we are trying our hardest to be our most courageous self. One time I was struggling with a relationship with my friends, and they kept doing this thing that over and over kept bugging me, and at first I didn't know why it bugged me, and then when I talked about it with my mom, we kind of put it into words as they kept being unreliable. And so they just wouldn't quite follow through with what they said, or just little things like that. And so it took a lot of courage, and it took me almost a month before I was able to work up that courage and to go over and talk to them and tell them, actually, when you do this, it bugs me and I can't fully trust you when you're not reliable. Even though that situation was hard and the end result wasn't what I wanted, and my love for myself grew when I found that I had the courage to speak my truth.
Feel free to message us if you want to discuss anything with us, or if you have different questions or insights about it, we'd love to talk to you.